All right, back for story time. Legacy keeping, my journey through the Nation of Islam, sitting at the feet of our elders. Now, this part of Sister Lynice's story is really difficult, but I'm really proud of her for sharing some really hard stuff. She's telling in this part, like she's 25 years old. She had been married for like 5 years, trying to be the best wife, helpmate, all of that. Then she and her husband like break up. Basically, he abandons the family and leaves. And during this time, she just shares like how she felt. So I'm gonna read, some of it or so. So she says, let me see, where should I start? She says, um, um, she says, all right, I'll just start at the top. You'll kind of pick up the story of where we are. She says, I was leaving Jackson, Mississippi. It is 1972. I am now 25 years old and have spent 5 years of my life striving to be the best wife, helpmate, and mother I could be. I have so many questions in my mind about how and why this has occurred. Why would Thomas Shabazz send his family back to Detroit at this time? These are all questions that I have asked myself, but only time will reveal the answer. I struggle to determine what, if anything, I did wrong. I'm trying to keep my pride and dignity. I'm married to a Muslim minister who is taught to respect and hold the women in high regard, his wife, his mother, and all black women. I thought the brother I was married to would do the right thing. I had given him the benefit of the doubt. I was disappointed. I felt Thomas would take on the obligations put before him even though we were not together. I learned this was wishful thinking. My mother, being the wise woman she was, tried to console me. At the same time, she tried to help me to see the reality of the situation. The reality was I must go to the people I called the devil and get help for me and my children. I knew that if she and dad were able to, they would help me and the children with no questions asked. However, they were still raising 4 children. Besides, it was not my parents' responsibility. The responsibility was Thomas's and mine. I knew I would have to go to the Department of Children and Family Services because there were no other alternatives. Thomas had sent $100 during the 3 months I resided with my parents. The money was not enough to cover the cost of my groceries. I called Jackson but received no response. Eventually, I received a long letter from Thomas in which he tells me he no longer wants anything to do with me. He doesn't mention the children but says, "You are on your own." He writes, "What about the FOI?" He tells me I must stop depending on him and make myself available to the FOI. I could not believe this. The way this man had insisted that I completely depend upon him while we were together. I am without any resources. But even more disheartening was another part of the story I'm hearing. Thomas has married one of the sisters in Mississippi who has 5 children. Of course, it couldn't be legal because we are still legally married according to Michigan's law. His story was that she needed a husband more than I did. I had a family and only 2 children. His children! I wanted to scream. Mama had to shake me from my depression. She and the pioneer sister, Mother Mary Pasha. She was related to our family by marriage. Mother Mary's son, Carl Pasha, had married one of my mother's younger sisters, Dorothy Ma. She has since changed her name to Baina Pasha. Mother Mary put it to me quite bluntly. Lynice, you are not the first woman to be separated from her husband, and you won't be the last. What's most important for you now is realizing that you have 2 children dependent upon you. If you don't feed them, they don't eat. If you don't put a roof over their head, they will not have a place to stay. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. Have some backbone and some grit. I loved Mother Mary's spirit. Actually, we'll pause right there. Oh, whoo! I tell you, may God protect us all. That's from my journey through the Nation of Islam, Sister Lynice Muhammad, sharing her story. All right, we'll leave it at that, y'all. Legacy keeping.